I first saw Raji, an ancient epic, on the same day of its release, during the Nintendo Indie Showcase of August 2020, and the footage that they showed immediately caught my eye, with its rich, colorful environments and satisfying-looking combat. You play as the titular character Raji, and the story starts with her little brother Golu getting kidnapped by demons who were resurrected by an evil shaman. Much of the story is told through these animated cutscenes that resemble a puppet show, giving it the feeling that you're playing out an old folk tale that's being passed down through the generations. Raji seamlessly blends gameplay elements from character action games, platformers, and isometric dungeon crawlers. The automatic camera keeps the action in frame, but it's often pulled so far back that it can be difficult to get an idea of what the hell is going on. And at times it can be hard to judge the angle or distance of certain jumps. These issues aside, the camera largely gets the job done and didn't cause as many problems as it could have. Also, the often hyper-zoomed out look makes the game resemble one of those old miniature toy sets like a Polly Pocket or Mighty Max. I like it. There were a few instances where I jumped off a ledge instead of sliding down, or spammed a dodge button a bit too frantically, and the game seemed to break completely, not letting me move. And it forced me to completely shut down the game and reopen it, since for some reason there seems to be no option to restart at a checkpoint or even a main menu at all. I've never seen anything like that. That being said, both times that I was forced to restart the game, virtually no progress was lost, so it wasn't the end of the world. I just hope that these issues can be addressed in a post-launch patch down the road. At its core, Raji is an action game. As you make your way through, you'll collect new weapons, unlock elemental abilities, and find health upgrades. Moves feel impactful thanks in large part to the fluid animations and explosive particle effects that follow each strike. When there are a large number of enemies on screen, combat can turn into an overwhelming and frustrating affair, resulting in game over after game over. But since checkpoints are generous, it's almost always worth dusting yourself off and giving it another shot. Once you figure out the appropriate weapon, move, or power set to properly handle a challenging encounter, you'll make short work of it with little issue, which is always satisfying. On the Switch, the game does suffer from an inconsistent frame rate, but I've only really noticed the drop during transitional scenes in between the action, so it never bothered me all that much. As I mentioned, Raji borrows from a lot of other games, but if I had to narrow it down, I'd call this Indian God of War. I mean, think about it. You've got an automatic camera that moves through the world, reacting to wherever you go, fast-paced character action with multiple weapons to use, giant boss fights, gods pulling the strings behind the curtain, and even button-activated finishing moves when an enemy's health is low enough. In between the combat and platforming, you'll find puzzles sprinkled throughout the game, but these mostly consist of rotating a set of objects until a mechanism is activated, opening up the path forward. These are never all that elaborate or creative, but they were well distributed and served as a welcome break from the rest of the game. Exploring the outer edges of the frame, getting behind the tucked away corners of where the camera intends for you to go, often reveals a hidden reward. Be it a weapon upgrade or health items, the game is always giving you something for venturing off the beaten path. It's good stuff. Raji, an ancient epic, is undoubtedly rough around the edges, with a few unfortunate game-breaking bugs, an inconsistent frame rate, and combat that can oftentimes be difficult to follow and manage. But with all that being said, the game has a certain charm to it that I couldn't help but appreciate. The mixture of puzzles, platforming, and combat were all adequate enough to still be fun. If you're looking for a decent action game to knock out in a couple of sittings, I think Raji might just be what you're looking for.
She is important. She holds hope for the mortals of the world. Of course I will watch over her.